The groom started screaming before midnight. Not shouting, screaming like something inside the room was tearing him apart. He ran out, half naked, into the night. By morning, they found him in the forest, shaking,
Mecca,
begging
what
not
happened
to be
to you?
taken back to his wife.
Don't take me back, please.
And
Sit
then,
down the road.
by evening, the river swallowed him. 3 days later, another man has come to marry her again. And that was how the village first understood
This one will soon leave her again and die in the river.
that something was wrong with Zola. Before Emeka married her, he was a man people pitied in silence. His slippers were always dusty. His shirts had lost the war with soap years ago. When he laughed, it was with the shame of a man who knew every laugh had to work harder than his empty pocket. He sold roasted corn beside the road and slept in a room so small that when he stretched both arms, his fingers could touch both walls. Then he married Zola. By the next market week, Emeka had somehow bought 2 plots of land, a car, and a shining new phone that he pressed to his ear like he had been born with wealth in his blood. The women at the grinding stone stopped pounding pepper to stare.
I saw it.
The men in the palm wine shed fell quiet. Even Zola's mother, Mama Neka, who already wore gold bangles thick as small snakes, smiled like a woman whose secret crop had begun to ripen.
Did you see? I saw it. That girl carries favor in her body. It is more than favor. She makes men rich. It is not ordinary.
Nothing about Zola had ever been ordinary. She was the kind of woman who made noise disappear when she entered a place. Men forgot to swallow. Women smiled with their mouths and frowned with their eyes. Children stared openly. Her skin held light. Her walk seemed too calm for the earth beneath it. Her voice was soft, but people still listened faster than they meant to. And yet, on the night of every wedding,
I love you.
something ruined everything. The first time it happened, Zola thought she had gone mad. That night, she sat on the edge of her new bed with trembling fingers locked in her lap, while Emeka removed his cap and grinned at her like a man standing at the door of heaven.
Why are you looking like someone going for punishment? I'm your husband, not...
He teased. I'm your husband, not your tax collector. She managed a small smile.
I am only tired.
Then rest. You've been greeting people since morning. Even me, I'm tired on your behalf.
He came closer. The room smelled of candle wax, fresh fabric, and the spicy meat stew the women had forced down everyone's throat all afternoon. Outside, distant laughter floated through the dark. Zola was about to answer when a strange scent slipped into the room. Salt. Cold ashes. Not strong, just there. A thin line of smell that cut through the warm air. Her chest tightened. What is that? Emeka paused.
Did you burn something?
Zola opened her mouth to say no, but heat struck the back of her neck, like invisible pepper had been rubbed into her skin. Her stomach twisted. Her heartbeat jumped. Then another feeling came, sharp, ugly, boiling fast from somewhere deep inside her. Annoyance. No, more than annoyance. Rage. She looked at Emeka and saw not a husband, but a greedy face, a hungry hand, a man already counting what he would take from her. The thought hit so hard she flinched. Where did that come from? Emeka frowned.
Zola? What?
Don't touch me, I said!
Her own voice sounded wrong, harder, louder, cutting like broken glass. Panic rose inside her. Stop talking. But her mouth kept moving.
You came here smelling of poverty. And now you are smiling like a thief who found an open store. You think I don't know what is in your heart? Greed, hunger, dirt.
Zola.
You disgust me!
She stood up so violently the stool beside the bed fell over. Her hands shook. Her throat burned. Every sentence arrived loaded with cruelty she had never thought in her life.
You think because I married you matter? You are nothing! A roadside beggar with borrowed confidence.
If I throw you outside now, Dogs will inspect you and walk away. Inside herself, she was screaming.
No.
No, no, this is not me. But her lips kept spitting poison. Emeka backed away, wounded and confused.
What have I done to you?
What have I done to you? She laughed, a strange, hateful laugh that made even her own skin crawl.
What
haven't you done? Must a rat first finish the whole bag before you call it a thief? He reached for her arm.
Please calm down.
Please, calm down. The moment his fingers brushed her wrist, the candle flame danced wildly. A deep heaviness dropped over the room. Emeka's eyes widened. He swayed once, twice, then collapsed to the floor as if sleep had hit him with a hammer. Zola froze.
Emeka?
Emeka? No answer. The rage vanished as quickly as it had come. She dropped to her knees beside him, shaking his shoulders. Emeka! Wake up! Wake up! Nothing. By dawn, he was gone. Not from the room, gone from the village. 3 days later, hunters found him in the heart of Ojo Forest, wearing only his boxers, shaking like a leaf and babbling about darkness, roots and water sounds, in places where there was no river. He would not meet Zola's eyes after that. He packed his things at noon the next day. I cannot stay here. I cannot. I'd rather sleep on the road. He made it as far as the old shrine path before villagers saw him turn, as if hearing somebody call his name. He began walking in another direction, not toward the main road, not toward safety, toward the river. People shouted after him. He did not stop. By the time they reached the bank, the water was moving in tight, dark circles. Emeka was gone. No body, no cry, nothing. Only the smell of salt and cold ashes floating above the water like a memory that refused to leave. After that came husband number 2. Then husband number 3, each man poor before her, each man rich after marrying her. Each wedding followed by the same night of terror. Each groom found in the deepest part of Ojo Forest, stripped down to his shame, eyes wild, voice broken. Each one trying to flee the village the next day. Each one somehow drawn to the river. Each one swallowed. By the 4th time, people stopped calling it misfortune. They started calling Zola names. River wife, gold trap, bride of the deep. Men still came, not for love, never for love. They came with desperate smiles and brave words and restless eyes that measured her like a gold mine with flesh. One came owing rent and left wearing imported shoes. Another came with one bent bicycle, and within a week he was buying cement in bulk. A tailor who had never owned a generator married her and suddenly had 3 shops and a car with leather seats. Every one of them died the same way. Every time, Zola cried until her ribs hurt. Every time she washed her mouth with bitter leaf water, as if she could scrub away the things that had come out of it. Every time she sat in the dark and pressed both palms to her face and asked the same question.
What is wrong with me?
What is wrong with me? She never got an answer. Her mother had one, but she never gave it. Mama Neka liked wealth too much for truth. She had not always been rich. People remembered her old days. They remembered the leaking roof, the pot that was always empty, the year she nearly sold her wrapper to buy medicine. They remembered how thin she had been when she gave birth to Zola in 1991. Then suddenly life changed. Food appeared, land appeared, jewelry appeared. Her husband, who had once coughed like death, was already renting a room in his chest, lived long enough to enjoy years of comfort before dying fat and satisfied. No one asked too many questions because poor people rarely interrogate miracles when those miracles are wearing lace and building fences. Only Zola paid the real price. At 35, she had become a beautiful graveyard. The men desired her before the wedding, feared her after the night, and vanished before the week ended. Children watched her from doorways. Women lowered their voices when she passed. When she smiled, people smiled back carefully, as if her happiness might also be contagious. Even in the market, She walked like someone apologizing for existing. One hot afternoon, after another failed marriage had been buried under whispers, Zola sat alone behind her mother's house, plucking dry grass and breaking it into smaller and smaller pieces. Maybe I should leave, she thought.
Maybe I should disappear.
Maybe I should disappear before any other man dies because of me. But where would I go? Every road felt too public, every town too close, every future too tired. Her fingers drifted to her waist. There, hidden beneath wrapper and skin, lay the beads. She had worn them since childhood. Not worn, exactly. They had fused into her. No clasp, no knot, no beginning, no end. Dark red, with tiny, dull gold spaces between them. Every herbalist who had tried to remove them had failed. One old woman had boiled oil and poured prayers over them for an hour before stepping back, sweating and afraid.
These are not ornaments.
These are not ornaments, she had said. These are teeth. When Zola was 16, she had asked her mother where they came from. Mama Neka had slapped the question out of the air.
They came with
your destiny. Leave it there. So Zola left it there. Until the day Kani came. He arrived in the village at sunset, when the sky was bruised orange and the goats were dragging themselves home. Zola noticed him first by scent before sight. Salt, cold ashes, the same smell. She turned sharply from the tomatoes she had been inspecting and saw him standing by the next stall, speaking to an old man selling smoked fish. He was tall, not in a proud way, but in a quiet, carved way, as if nature had taken time with him. His skin was deep brown, with a strange silver undertone where the light touched it. His face was handsome enough to make a woman cautious, not soft handsome, dangerous handsome. The kind that looked as if it knew exactly what effect it had and was too patient to rush it. He turned. Their eyes met. Zola's breath stopped. His gaze held hers without greed, without pity, without calculation. He looked at her as if he had been searching for a lost thing and had finally found it. Then he smiled. Not wide, not flirtatious, just knowing. Zola looked away first. That night she could not sleep. The smell had followed her home in faint waves, not enough to choke, just enough to disturb. She lay awake on her mat while the house clicked and settled around her. Who is he? Why did he look at me like that? And why did the air smell like the river? By morning, she had convinced herself she imagined it. By afternoon, he was at her mother's gate. Mama Neka was sitting outside, supervising two women washing clothes, when Kani entered the compound with the calm of someone arriving at a place he already knew. "Good afternoon," he said. Mama Neka looked up, and for 1 second all color drained from her face. Zola saw it. Just 1 second. Then the older woman recovered and sat straighter.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Who are you?
My name is Kani.
My name is Kani. No greeting smile, no nervous shifting, no village man performance, just the name. He turned to Zola. May I speak with you? Mama Neka's mouth tightened.
I talk to you.
Whatever you have
Anything you have
to
to
say,
say it here.
Kani kept his eyes on Zola. It concerns the year 1991.
Since the year 1991.
The washing women stopped scrubbing. Zola felt cold rise in her arms despite the heat. What about 1991? She asked. That was the year you were born. Her mother stood up too quickly. Get out!
How do you know that?
Kani did not move. Zola stared at him. How do you know that? He spoke gently, almost kindly.
Because that was the year your mother stood by the river at midnight with an empty stomach, a feverish
husband, and a baby screaming with hunger inside her. She begged for help. Something answered. Mama Neka's voice cracked like a whip.
Leave this compound! What answered?
Kani looked at her waist, then back at her face. The water. Silence dropped. Even the washing women had stopped breathing loudly. Zola heard her own voice as if from far away. What are you saying? I am saying, Kani replied, that your mother made a bargain over your life. She was given beads, not decoration, binding. You were made into a vessel. Men who bind themselves to you drink from your current. Wealth follows them because wealth was written into the bargain. But they were never meant to keep both the gift and themselves. Zola turned to her mother so fast her wrapper shifted. Mama? Mama Neka laughed, but the sound had no strength. This one has come to perform cinema in my compound.
When the night scent enters your room, you feel fire in your throat. Your mind, your mouth becomes a weapon. You hear yourself speaking and cannot stop, then sleep falls. When the men wake, they are in the forest.
They are in the forest. By the next day, the river calls what belongs to it. Zola's knees weakened. How does he know that?
You know all this.
She whispered it aloud. How do you know all this? Kani tilted his head, amused.
I have been around for a very long time.
Madman!
Mama Neka snapped. Kani gave a low laugh.
That was a joke.
But Zola did not laugh. Something in her chest had already shifted. He turned back to her.
You are wearing a chain, Zola. Not beads, a chain.
For the first time in years, hope rose so suddenly it hurt.
If you know all this, can it be broken?
She said, Can it be broken?
Yes.
Kani was quiet long enough to make everybody lean toward him. Yes. Mama Neka moved between them.
Enough! You will not fill
my daughter's head with stories.
Our daughter's head has been filled with sorrow for 35 years.
Kani said softly. What is one more story? That night, Zola confronted her mother. Not with anger at first, with pleading.
Tell me the truth.
Tell me the truth.
There is no truth in the mouth of strangers. He knew too much. He is a manipulator! Mama.
Mama. Her mother busied herself folding wrappers that did not need folding. Some things are better left buried.
Did you do something to me?
Zola's voice shook.
I kept you alive!
Mama Neka turned with sudden force. I kept you alive! The words hit the room and hung there. Zola went still. Her mother's lips parted. She had not meant to say that much.
Kept me alive? Mama, Zola whispered. What did you do? The older woman looked away. You were not there.
You were not there. You do not know hunger. You do not know watching your husband die in pieces because medicine is for people with money. You do not know what it is to carry a child jar and pray that maybe both of you should die quickly because slow dying is too expensive. So you sold
Tears rose in Zola's eyes. So you sold me?
I saved
this family.
At what cost?
Mama Enika's own eyes shone now, but her face remained hard.
You are alive.
Zola touched her waist, those cursed beads pressing cold into her skin. And the men? They came because they wanted wealth. That does not mean they deserve death. Her mother threw up both hands.
Did they marry you for your heart? Tell me! Which one loved you? Which one said, Zola, I will stay poor with you? They all came with hunger in their eyes. The river only collected greedy men.
Zola stepped back, as if struck. That argument stayed in her head long after the room went quiet. Maybe they were greedy.
But did
Maybe
that
they
make what
used
happened
me.
Right?
But did that make what happened right? No. No, it did not. The next day, Kani met her by the old mango tree without being told. She almost laughed through her grief when she saw him already waiting, as if he had known where her feet would bring her. You came, he said.
I
needed air.
You needed truth.
She folded her arms.
If you know how to free me, tell me.
He looked out toward the distant glitter of the river. The beads
must come off.
I know that much.
I know that much. Not by force, not by knife. The bond must be opened by the one who understands the current that made it.
She studied him. And that person is you?
Why would you help me?
That question seemed to please him. Because not every man comes to you with a basket. She frowned. He smiled faintly. To harvest. Zola should have been afraid of the way he spoke. Instead, she felt seen. Over the days that followed, he became the first person in years around whom she did not feel like a disaster waiting to happen. He walked with her at dusk. He listened when she spoke. He did not interrupt her pain with quick comfort. He let it breathe. When she told him about waking after every wedding with her throat raw from words she could not remember fully, but hated herself for saying, he did not say, "It is not your fault," too soon. He said,
"You have been trapped inside a punishment you did not choose."
Can someone still be good after being the reason so many others died?
A knife tied to your hand is not proof that your heart
that
wanted
your
blood.
heart wanted blood. She carried that sentence for days. At night, she repeated it to herself.
A knife tied to your hand. Not proof. Not proof.
The village noticed them, of course. Villages noticed breathing.
Come try him luck.
Some women shook their heads. Some men laughed that another fool had come to try his luck. Mama Enika watched with a fear she disguised as irritation. And Zola, against every instinct built by pain, began to love Kani. It happened softly, and then all at once. A shared look, a hand held too long. The first time he touched her wrist, and the usual burst of inner fire did not come. The first time he said her name as if it were not cursed. The first time she caught herself imagining a future and did not immediately punish the thought. One evening, as they sat outside while crickets scratched at the dark, she asked again,
How old are you really?
Still thinking about my bad joke?
Kani.
Old enough to know that grief can make a home inside a woman and start paying rent.
Zola smiled despite herself. That is not an age.
That is not an age.
It is the best you'll get tonight.
You are impossible.
And yet you are here.
She looked at him then, really looked, and felt the full danger of loving someone when you have already buried hope 4 times. If this one leaves too, I may not survive it. But when Kani finally asked to marry her, he did not ask in front of a crowd. He did not perform courage for the village. He asked quietly, by the river path, with the evening wind moving through the reeds. I want to stand where others ran, he said. Zola's heart pounded. You don't understand what happens. I understand enough.
You could die.
He stepped closer. The familiar scent, salt, cold ashes den, drifted around him. But now it felt less like warning and more like destiny. Or I could end it. She searched his face. And if you cannot?
Then at least for one night,
he said.
You will know what it feels like to be chosen without fear.
That broke her. She covered her mouth and cried. He pulled her gently into his arms. At their wedding, the whole village came not from joy, but from hunger for spectacle. They wanted to see whether this handsome stranger would also become another rich fool led to death. Kani wore white. Zola wore gold and cream. Though her hands shook so badly, an older auntie had to help fasten her. Her lips formed one broken word. Kani? He smiled, and that smile frightened her more than the tale. As if on cue, Mama Neka rushed forward, not with horror, but with excitement that bordered on madness. My son-in-law, she cried. My powerful son-in-law.
This chest is for you.
Mama Neka smiled too brightly all day and accepted gifts with both hands. Kani brought many. Jewelry, fabric, cash,
for you, my dear.
Even a carved chest that made the women gasp. Mama Neka nearly glowed. You see? She whispered sharply to Zola when nobody was close enough to hear. Your husband is a blessing. Zola stared at her. You still speak as if all this is normal. Her mother's mouth thinned.
This is our way.
A man who provides should not be insulted because he is mysterious.
Mysterious.
Mysterious?
He is kind to you, is he not?
He is kind to you, is he not? That sentence stayed ugly in Zola's ear. As evening fell, fear returned. She knew the pattern too well. The laughter outside, the food, the drums, then night, then scent, then possession, then shame, then loss. Inside the bridal room, Kani closed the door and turned toward her. The house outside still throbbed with distant celebration. Zola's breathing had already gone shallow. "It will start soon," she whispered. Kani stepped close and took both her hands in his. "No," he said softly. "Not this time." He knelt before her. Before she could ask what he was doing, his fingers brushed the beads at her waist. A pulse of cold shot through her body. The room darkened for 1 second, not fully, just enough to make the shadows lean in. Kani's expression changed. Not softer, older, deeper. Something unreadable moved in his face as he gripped the fused beads.
They have held long enough.
Then he pulled. Zola screamed, not because her flesh tore, though it felt as if something deeper than flesh was being separated, but because a pressure she had lived with for so many years suddenly cracked open. The beads came free into his hand, wet and dark and glistening like they had just been born. Zola fell forward, gasping. She grabbed her waist. No beads. Nothing. She began to laugh and cry at once. "They're gone," she whispered. "Kani, they're gone." He stood slowly, the beads coiled in his palm like a sleeping snake.
For years, you carried a locked
She looked
door.
up at him through tears.
How did you do that?
"How did you do that?" He smiled, but this time it did not warm her fully.
Did it matter if you wanted free?
She should have answered. She should have demanded more, but her body was shaking with relief too large for questions. Then the scent hit. Salt, cold ashes, much stronger now.
Come with
Kani extended a hand. "Come.
the river.
There is one thing left." "What thing?" "We must return what belonged to the water." Outside, somebody must have seen them emerge carrying the beads, because the news spread like fire in dry grass. By the time Kani and Zola reached the road leading to the river, villagers were trailing behind them in a moving wall
Maybe
of
tonight is
whispers.
the end.
"She is free. He broke it. Maybe tonight is the end." Mama Neka hurried after them, her wrapper half slipping, her eyes fixed not on her daughter, but on the bead string in Kani's hand. At the riverbank, the moon poured silver across the black water. Kani walked to the edge. Zola stopped a few feet behind him. Her heart had started beating wrongly again, not fast with fear, slow with warning. "Kani,"
what
she
are we
said,
doing here?
"what are we doing here?" He did not answer at once. He looked down at the beads as if remembering something private. Then, without urgency, he stepped into the water. A murmur ran through the crowd. "Kani!" He kept moving. Water reached his knees, his thighs, his waist. Then he dove. The river swallowed him whole. Women screamed. Men shouted. Zola stood frozen. Seconds passed. Too many. Then the surface broke. What rose from the water was not a man, at least not fully. His shoulders were still broad and human, but below the waist the moon caught scales, dark blue, green-black, silver at the edges, huge and gleam. The village stumbled back. Some people fell to their knees. Some ran. Zola could not move. Her lips formed one broken word. "Kani?" He smiled, and that smile frightened her more than the tale. Mama Aneka rushed forward, not with horror, but with excitement that bordered on madness. "My son-in-law!" she cried. "My powerful son-in-law!" Zola whipped toward her. "Mama! What?" the older woman snapped. "Is he beating you? Did he not remove the beads? Has he not brought gifts? He's... what? A spirit?" Mama Aneka spread her hands as if discussing the weather. "Many women live with worse. Some are married to drunkards. Some to men who gamble away rice money. Some to ghosts they cannot even see."
What? A spirit? Many women live with worse. Some are married to drunkards.
"Some to men who gamble away rice money. Some to ghosts they cannot even see."
At least this one is handsome. At least he's rich. At least he's kind.
Zola stared at her mother with pure disbelief. You
cannot mean this.
Stay with your husband.
My husband?
Yes, your husband. Stop behaving like a child. Do you know what people pray for? provision, protection. This one has both legs in another world and still brought you honor. What is the
What
problem?
is the problem? The problem. The problem. Zola looked back at Kani, at the creature she had trusted, loved, nearly built a future around. You knew.
You knew.
She whispered.
I knew enough.
You said you wanted to free me.
I did.
Into this?
His gaze softened
call
in a
it this
way that made it
because
worse.
You were raised on land.
You call it this because you were raised on land. She took one step back. Who are you? For the first time since entering the river, he dropped all pretense.
I am the hand
The
your
patience
mother
in his
begged
face changed
1991.
shape. Beneath it was ownership. I am the hand your mother begged in 1991. The night tilted. Zola's mouth went dry. No.
No.
She asked, I answered.
No.
She wanted life, I wanted time.
The villagers were silent now, listening with the frightened greed of people who suspect they are hearing the truth behind 35 years of someone else's miracle. Zola shook her head violently. You lied to me! Kani's voice came low,
I left
almost
out the
tender.
part you wouldn't
I
accept.
postponed the part you would hate. You let me love you. Yes. Why?
Old joke.
He smiled with terrible sadness. Because it is easier to lead what has already leaned toward you. What do you want
What
from
do you
me
want
now?
from
He
me
lifted the bead string.
What was promised?
I owe you nothing.
You owe me nothing, your mother did.
Then take it from her.
At that, something cruel flickered in his eyes. Her portion is
Her
simpler.
part is simpler.
He opened his other hand toward Mama Eneka. The older woman smiled nervously, expecting a gift. Instead, the gold on her wrists darkened. Her necklaces clumped. Her earrings sagged. One by one, every shining thing on her body lost its light, softened, and dropped in wet brown lumps to the ground. Mud. River mud. The carved chest Kani had brought for the wedding groaned. Women screamed and jumped back as expensive wrappers stained themselves with damp earth. Mama Eneka let out a thin animal cry. My gold!
My gold.
She fell to her knees, grabbing fistfuls of mud that slipped through her fingers. My gold! My gold!
My gold.
Kani did not look at her again. She ate for years, he said. That part is over. Then his gaze returned to Zola. You, however, were always the deeper harvest. Zola ran. Not because she thought she could outrun water, because fear makes the body attempt foolish hope before the mind catches up. She turned from the bank and bolted into the reeds, villagers scattering in front of her. Someone shouted her name. Someone else shouted, "Run!" Her feet pounded the damp ground. I will not go. I will not go. I will not. The air thickened. The smell of salt and cold ashes flooded around her so strongly she gagged. The reeds bent without wind. Water spilled over the bank in a fast black tongue and wrapped her ankles. She fell hard. Hands clawed at the mud. Help me! People moved, but no one came close enough. Kani was already there. Not walking. There. One moment river, next moment presence. He caught her wrist. His grip was cool and impossibly strong. Zola screamed and beat at his arm. Leave me! Leave me! I waited 35 years, he said, not angrily, not loudly,
Not as patient
just
to end
with the
here.
terrible steadiness of fact. Do not ask patience to die at the shore. She twisted, sobbing. You said you loved me. I do. The answer hit her worse than denial would have. She stared up at him, horror widening her eyes. He touched her cheek with his free hand. In the way the deep loves what falls into it. Completely. No.
Take her if you must, but leave
Take her if
something
you
for
must,
me.
but leave something for me. Zola stopped struggling long enough to look at her mother. Not grief, not apology, not even guilt. Only bargaining. In that moment, the last thread snapped. She had not been betrayed once. She had been betrayed twice. First in infancy, then again now. Sold when she could not speak. Sold again when she finally could. The fight went out of her for one long, shattered second. Kani felt it, and he pulled. The river took them both. Cold slammed over her head. The moon vanished. The sound above became a muffled, broken world.
What was not mine.
Zola kicked,
Mine.
clawed, screamed bubbles into black water. Her lungs burned. Kani's arm locked around her waist, unbreakable. Down they went, past roots like grasping fingers, past stones slick with old silence, past a darkness so blue it was almost a colorless void.